Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into spirituality and history, thanks to your suggestion.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're taking a look at this clip from Robert Edward Grant's think tank interview with Aaron Abke
Okay.
called From Christian Roots to Universal Wisdom.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's a fascinating choice.
Yeah.
Abke, he kind of weaves together all this stuff from like ancient wisdom, modern science, and personal experience.
Right.
It's like he wants us to think outside the box.
Oh, absolutely. And it really piqued my curiosity, and I was wondering, where do we even start? I mean, Abke's journey from, devout Christian to exploring, like, esoteric knowledge is a story in itself.
Yeah.
But then he brings in all this other stuff like prime number patterns,
Right.
the Essenes,
Yeah.
Jesus potentially traveling to India and Tibet,
Mhm.
and even like a helicopter crash near the Dead Sea.
It's wild, right? It's like he's giving us this treasure map
Oh, yeah.
leading to all this like hidden knowledge.
Yeah.
And he really wants us to question like everything we think we know. And look for these deeper patterns in the world.
So let's unpack this. You mentioned that Abke transitioned away from Christianity.
Right.
He wasn't losing faith in Jesus.
Yeah, he makes that really clear.
But he felt the teachings of the Apostle Paul might have distorted the original message.
Yes.
What did he specifically take issue with?
Well, he really challenges this idea of salvation by faith.
Okay.
Which Paul emphasizes, right? And he contrasts that with Jesus's focus on like actually living a life of love and compassion.
Right, walking the walk.
Yeah, exactly. Not just talking the talk.
Yeah.
And he suggests that, maybe this shift in emphasis led to some unintended consequences
Okay.
in how Christianity evolved.
So it's not just about believing in Jesus, but about emulating his actions and teachings.
Yeah, like really embodying those principles in your life.
That makes you think of that classic Monty Python movie, Life of Brian.
Oh, yeah.
They satirize how easily Jesus' message could be misinterpreted.
Oh, that's such a good comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
So focusing solely on faith without action
Yes.
could lead to a more passive form of belief that we've lost sight of putting these teachings into practice.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if Paul's teachings don't really represent the true essence of Jesus' message,
Right.
where does Abke go to find a more authentic version of early Christianity?
Well, he goes deep, right, into the world of the Essenes.
Okay.
This ancient Jewish sect that some scholars believe may have influenced Jesus.
The Essenes. And you can't talk about them without mentioning the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
Abke claims they reveal an alternative gospel embraced by this group.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What does this Essene gospel look like?
Well, it emphasizes like living in harmony with God's laws through righteous actions and rejects things like animal sacrifice.
Okay.
And this kind of stands in contrast to the later Christian focus on Jesus's death as the ultimate sacrifice necessary for salvation.
It's like two different paths
Yeah.
emerging within the same, like, spiritual landscape.
Exactly.
It makes you think about how certain historical narratives gain dominance and what might be lost
Right.
or forgotten along the way.
Absolutely.
Is that what Abke's getting at with this idea of a Hebrew gospel being excluded from the biblical canon?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh.
He suggests that the Essene practices were suppressed
Right.
and their version of the gospel was ultimately left out.
Yeah.
Which raises some really interesting questions about who gets to write history and how power dynamics shape religious traditions.
It's pretty radical, right? This reinterpretation of early Christianity, but then Abke takes us on this global journey.
Right.
Exploring the possibility that Jesus might have traveled to India and Tibet
Yes.
during the years not accounted for in the Bible.
Those missing years, right?
Yeah.
Between like 12 and 30.
Right.
He mentions this book called The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ by Nicholas Notovich
Dope.
that explores this theory.
Okay.
And he even shares his own experience traveling to Dharamsala and meeting with the Dalai Lama.
He met the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was during this trip that he felt a deep connection to Eastern philosophies, and he started to consider the possibility that Jesus might have encountered those teachings during his travels.
Okay, so it's fascinating to think about how exposure to different cultures and spiritual traditions could shape Jesus' understanding of the world.
Right.
But how does this all connect to Abke's warnings about modern society being on a similar path to the societal collapse
Right.
that he says that the Essenes predicted?
He seems to see history as cyclical. Like patterns repeat themselves over time.
Okay.
He believes we are currently experiencing a similar purging or transition period that the Essenes warned about.
Okay, and to illustrate this, he brings in some pretty unexpected examples. He talks about the concept of the red heifer sacrifice in Jewish tradition, which is supposed to herald the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem.
Right, and it gets even stranger.
Oh, okay.
He mentions that his parents raised cattle,
Okay.
and just before a recent eclipse, 4 out of the 5 red heifers needed for this ancient ritual came from their ranch in Texas.
Hold on. 4 red heifers from his parents' ranch.
Yeah.
What are the chances?
It does seem like a wild coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you consider these other details.
Okay.
The eclipse peaked at 1:37 p.m. in Austin.
And 1.37, doesn't that number have some special significance?
It's the fine structure constant,
Okay.
a fundamental number in physics
Right.
that represents the strength of the electromagnetic force.
Okay.
It's the same number Carl Sagan famously placed on the Voyager spacecraft
Oh, wow.
as a message to potential extraterrestrial civilizations because it's a universal constant.
Okay, now we're getting into Twilight Zone territory.
Yeah.
And this all ties into the eclipse's trajectory, forming a giant letter A over the United States.
Exactly.
Okay.
He sees this as a symbol of the separation of light and darkness,
Okay.
which further emphasizes this point that we're in a period of intense transformation.
Right.
Like we're at a crossroads.
Right.
We need to choose our path carefully.
So we're dealing with ancient prophecies.
Yeah.
Eclipses with bizarre numerical coincidences
Uh-huh.
and giant celestial letters.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
And we haven't even touched on his ideas about time being a Mobius strip.
Oh, right.
It's going to get really mind-bending.
I'm curious to hear more about how he connects this concept of time to the nature of reality.
Yeah, let's explore that next.
Okay.
It's a concept that challenges our linear perception of time and opens up some really intriguing possibilities.
So we left off with Aaron Abke hinting at this concept of time as a Mobius strip.
Right.
Not exactly a simple idea
Yeah.
to grasp.
It's a little mind-bending.
So how does he explain it? And what does it mean for our understanding of reality?
Well, you know, a Mobius strip is like this continuous loop
Oh.
where there's no clear beginning or end, right? And so it's a fascinating analogy because it challenges our linear perception of time.
Right. So instead of a straight line, he proposes that time might be more like a spiral,
Exactly.
constantly looping back on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about moving forward from past to present to future,
Right.
but about the possibility that all these different aspects of time are interwoven.
Yeah, happening simultaneously.
Okay.
And he links this idea to the precession of the equinoxes,
Okay.
which is a very slow wobble in the Earth's rotational axis.
Okay.
It takes about 26,000 years for the Earth to complete one full wobble.
Wow.
And during that time, from our perspective on Earth, it looks like we're slowly moving backward
Oh, wow.
through the zodiac constellations.
So while it seems like we're moving forward in time, there's also this backward motion happening.
Yeah, on a much larger scale.
Right.
And he uses this to illustrate that our perception of time might be limited.
Okay.
Like there could be a bigger picture that we're not fully grasping.
So we're caught in this illusion of linear time,
Mm-hmm.
but there might be a much more complex
Yeah.
and dynamic reality operating beyond our usual awareness.
Exactly. And this ties back into his belief that we're always at the center of our own universe.
Okay.
Not in an egotistical way, but in the sense that our individual consciousness plays a role in shaping the reality we experience.
It's a bit like that saying, wherever you go, there you are.
Right.
But in this case, it's more like whenever you are, that's the center of your experience.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah, and this notion of time as a loop,
Okay.
it really opens up this possibility that past, present, and future might be more interconnected
Right.
than we realize.
Like we're influencing our past and future selves in ways we don't yet understand.
Yeah, it's wild to think about.
This is getting deep. We've got time as a Mobius strip.
Uh-huh.
This idea of the universe mirroring our consciousness.
Yeah. And all these hints about extraterrestrial involvement in ancient civilizations,
Right.
it feels like we're building towards something big here.
And that something big, at least for Abke, seems to be the law of one.
Okay.
This channeled text that he references a lot.
Okay.
He seems to draw a lot of inspiration from its core principles.
Can you give us a little background on what the Law of One is all about?
Sure, it's a series of 5 books that claim to be a collection of messages channeled from this highly evolved extraterrestrial entity called Ra.
Okay.
And the central message is that all beings are interconnected and part of the same universal consciousness.
Okay.
And it really emphasizes unity, love, and non-judgment.
So it's not a traditional religious text,
Right.
but more of a spiritual philosophy that
Yeah.
explores the nature of consciousness in the universe.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's within this framework that he introduces this concept of the harvest.
Yes, which is this period of spiritual graduation.
The harvest sounds a little intense.
It does, right? What does this actually mean in Abke's interpretation?
He describes it as a time when souls are assessed
Okay.
based on their alignment with love and light.
Okay.
And those who have chosen a path of service to others and embrace the principles of unity and compassion will continue to evolve on Earth, which he believes is transitioning to this higher level of consciousness called fourth density.
Fourth density, I'm assuming that's a concept from the law of one.
You got it.
Okay.
And it refers to a plane of existence where consciousness is more unified and focused on love and understanding.
So it's not a physical location,
Right,
but a state of being.
exactly.
So those who haven't quite embraced these principles might need to take a cosmic detour.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like being held back a grade, but on a universal scale.
Yeah, and he really emphasizes that this isn't about judgment or punishment,
Okay.
but about souls being matched with the environments that best suit their level of evolution.
Okay, so it seems like free will plays a huge role in all of this. We have the power to choose which path we want to follow. But I'm curious, how does Abke tie all this back to his fascination with math?
Right.
He keeps mentioning mathematical patterns as a way to decode spiritual principles.
Well, he sees math as the language of God, literally woven into the fabric of reality.
Okay.
He talks about discovering patterns in prime numbers and their connection to the number 24, which has significance in various ancient traditions. Shapes that he believes hold hidden meaning.
Wait, he's discovering new geometric shapes.
He is. It's pretty incredible.
That's pretty incredible. What makes these shapes unique?
He believes they contain specific mathematical ratios that can unlock higher levels of understanding about the universe and our place within it.
Okay.
He even compares these shapes to QR codes for our subconscious minds.
So it's not just about crunching numbers, but about recognizing the deeper meaning
Right.
and symbolism embedded within those mathematical relationships.
Exactly.
I remember him mentioning something about music and emotions being connected through mathematical ratios as well.
Right. He explains how specific musical intervals evoke certain emotions because of the mathematical ratios between the notes.
Okay.
For example, the major third interval is often associated with feelings of love and connection because of the mathematical relationship between the two notes.
That's really interesting. So even our emotional experiences might have a mathematical basis.
Yeah, it's like the entire universe is a symphony, playing itself out through numbers and patterns.
And that brings us to his personal experiences
Right.
within the Great Pyramid,
Yes.
which take us even deeper into the realm of cosmic mystery.
For sure.
His pyramid experiences, he claims to have activated a stargate within the king's chamber and journeyed to other star systems while in an out-of-body state.
Yeah, he's got some bold claims.
Yeah, those are some pretty bold claims.
Right, and it's important to note that many people report feeling intense energy shifts,
Okay.
heightened awareness, and even glimpses into other dimensions within the pyramid. But Abke's interpretation goes beyond personal experience.
Okay.
He believes that the pyramids were built with a specific purpose.
What kind of purpose?
He believes they were intentionally built by future humans or even extraterrestrial beings to help awaken human consciousness
Wow.
and facilitate spiritual growth.
Okay.
He sees them as sophisticated tools for accessing higher dimensions and understanding the mysteries of the universe.
It's a pretty radical departure from traditional archaeology.
It is,
Yeah.
but it aligns with his recurring theme that time is not linear.
Okay.
Perhaps we're more connected to our past and future selves than we currently realize.
Right.
And these ancient structures hold clues to unlocking our true potential.
So it's not just about marveling at the architectural achievements of the past,
Right.
but about recognizing that they might hold a deeper meaning
Yes,
and purpose that we're only beginning to understand.
exactly. And that understanding leads us to his ultimate message about the future of humanity and the importance of choosing love. He believes we're at a critical turning point in our evolution.
Let's dive into that next.
Okay.
It sounds like he has some important insights to share about the challenges and opportunities
Yeah, for sure.
that lie ahead. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive with Aaron Abke.
Yeah, we have.
We went from deconstructing religious narratives to the mysteries of ancient civilizations
Right.
and the power of mathematics to reveal these deeper truths.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear he believes we're at, like, this pivotal moment in human history.
Yeah.
So what does he see as the biggest challenges and opportunities facing us as we move forward?
Well, he paints kind of a stark picture
Okay.
of what could happen if we continue down this path of separation and judgment.
Right.
You know, he talks about potential societal collapse, technological disasters,
Right.
and a deepening divide between those who choose love and those who cling to fear and control.
Okay, so it sounds pretty bleak.
Yeah.
But it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No, not at all.
There's also this message of hope woven throughout his interview.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that he's not making predictions,
Okay.
but rather outlining potential outcomes based on our collective choices.
Right.
Like, we have the power to change course
Right.
and create a more positive future if we choose to.
And that's where this idea of the harvest comes back into play.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about some external force judging us,
Right.
but about us choosing which path we want to align with.
Exactly. He seems to believe that Earth itself is evolving,
Okay.
and those who choose love and unity will continue to evolve with it.
Okay.
He even suggests that this might involve accessing higher levels of consciousness
Right.
and experiencing a more harmonious and interconnected reality.
It's like we're all part of this grand cosmic experiment,
Yeah.
and we get to choose which outcome we want to participate in.
It's both empowering and a little daunting.
It is, yeah.
And I think that's the point he's trying to make. Like, we're not just passive observers.
Right.
We're active creators of our own reality.
Right.
And he believes that this power comes from aligning our actions with our deepest values and choosing love over fear.
And this connects back to the law of one's emphasis on free will
Yes.
and the idea that we're all on our own unique journeys.
Precisely. There's no one-size-fits-all path.
Right.
What matters is that we're making conscious choices that align with our soul's purpose
Okay.
and contribute to the greater good.
It's a powerful message that encourages us to step into our own authenticity
Yeah.
and recognize the interconnectedness of all beings.
And I think he's suggesting that if enough of us choose love, if enough of us awaken to our true potential, we can shift the trajectory of humanity
Okay.
towards a more positive and fulfilling future.
This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've gone from ancient prophecies to quantum physics and everything in between.
You know?
What stands out to you as the most impactful takeaway from Aaron Abke's insights?
I think for me, it's the overarching theme of interconnectedness. He really encourages us to see beyond our limited perceptions of time and space.
Right.
And recognize that we're all part of something much grander.
Absolutely. And for you listening, what sparked your curiosity?
Yeah, what stood out to you?
Did anything challenge your assumptions?
What resonated with you?
Maybe something you want to explore further, because
Yeah.
this deep dive is just the beginning of your own journey of discovery.
Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep.